Welcome to Profit Sharing in the Real World. I'm your host, Danny Murphy. This podcast features commentary from Dick Erickson, founder of Sun Tire in North Florida and author of the book Profit Sharing in the Real World, which is available at Amazon.com. Dick started with one store in the 80s and expanded to 9 stores near Jacksonville and 2 in Tallahassee before selling the company in 2017. In today's episode, Dick and I are going to talk about some of the crucial numbers that were involved with his profit sharing plan. Welcome to the show, Dick.
Thank you, Danny.
Now, one of the important numbers was net profit. You wanted to reach a certain level of net profit for a year before getting underway. What was that number? And why did you pick that number?
$250,000, which is, every business is different, but we were at the size that number, if I split it, half would mean something to the employee and the other half would keep the company growing on the other side.
So in your plan, 250, you had a right-hand man who helped you to get there, didn't you?
Right. Because we hadn't hit that number yet. We were fighting for it and all that. We kind of hit a plateau. And so he said, give me an exact number, boss, his expression was. And I said, 250,000.
Net profit for a year.
Net profit. And remember, in businesses, a lot of times, just because you have net profit of 250 doesn't mean it's liquid. So I had to make sure it was a big enough number for our company that half of it would be basically something that was liquid for the employee, even though the other profit would be there to grow the business.
So that number, 250,000 net profit, that provided your right-hand man with an objective and a goal, and it was achievable.
Yes, it was. We were close enough to it, but we just couldn't quite get there.
And so when he got the number within a year, you were at that level, weren't you?
We were. Yes, I'm very thankful. That got us up and going.
Now, when it comes to a profit level, when a business owner is considering putting a profit sharing plan in place, it's important to come up with the number for his or her business, right?
Right.
And what would you suggest to a business owner as far as determining what's the right number for your business?
There's 2 issues here, but the one very important to the owner would be is say, if I split that number, whatever the number I come up with, will that be enough to help me grow the business and keep it healthy and growing? And so then the other half's going to go to them, and that other half should be basically liquid. It's money that's cash in the bank that I can turn over to the employees for their programs.
Now, you talked about 50-50 split. You saw that at Les Schwab Tire. Tell me about that.
Well, 50-50, if you really think about it, when someone says, hey, we're going to do profit share. Well, how are you going to do it? We're going to split profits with you. What's the number that immediately comes in your mind? I think is 50-50. Well, so it makes it kind of an equality to it, that we're important enough that they'd give up half the profits to help us, with our part in life too. And so I think the 50-50 is just a number that it doesn't have to be there though. It's basically how you sell this. There's not a right or wrong number, but it's got to be a number that when you present it to the employees, it's got their attention when you're doing well.
So, if somebody has the objective to get to that 50%, or they might think that 50% is just crazy talk, but if you set an objective, it might be 5%, it might be 10%.
Yeah.
You don't have to get there overnight, do you?
That's a good point you just made, Danny. The point is the different levels in the company of the workers there, it will be a different number of the 50 in our case. The hourly would get 10% of it. The profit sharing would get 35% of it, or not the profit sharing, the retirement program. And then there is the profit that was for the management themselves. So they're all different numbers. There's 4 or 5 different numbers within the 50. But when you come back to the guy on the line, that number, if ours was 10, that 10 needed to be like, if you're at 250, if they had to do 250 and you split that, that's 125. the employees got $12,500. The hourly employees in our company got, and we split that amongst the employees.
50-50. Would you like to say anything else about the numbers, Dick?
No, I think it's a number that has to be grasped, and it probably scares most people out of profit sharing. I don't know the number that I need, and I don't want to make a commitment. If I don't want to make a commitment that I can't live with, because nothing worse than giving them a number and then have to lower it. So you kind of want to be realistic about it, do some checking, ask some questions. And a lot of that's with your professionals. Your number one, your CPA, of what makes sense to him and probably other people in the industry.
In some profit sharing plans, it's basically, enough to go out for dinner at the end of the year. But to give people the motivation and the drive to perform, it's got to be more than that.
Yes, and let's stay with that. And in most profit sharing, it isn't with all the employees involved. It's with your key folks. And the problem is what I've seen when I saw it out in the Schwab, when everyone's involved, the enthusiasm that came from the basic level employee was over the top. All of a sudden you had, and usually that's where your greatest numbers are of people are at the level of where the work's being done every day. And when you get them to another level, it's unbelievable what it does for your company.
Well, Dick, it's been a good talk about the numbers, the important numbers for a profit-sharing plan. You've been listening to Profit Sharing in the Real World. Dick Erickson's book of the same name is available at Amazon.com. If you have a question for Dick to address in a future podcast, or if you have a story about how you've seen profit-sharing work in the real world, please send me an email, Danny Murphy. The email address is danny@successstory.biz. That's success story, completely spelled out with 3 S's. Thank you for listening to Profit Sharing in the Real World.